Hi there, Matt Boyle here, and today I want to give you a simple strategy that's going to help turn the volume up on your sales presentations, making sure the value that you offer your prospects is getting communicated in a way that they understand, and it's going to make it a lot more likely for them to say yes. See, when you're starting out, you've got this overstimulated and overwhelmed marketplace that have got so much information and choice at their fingertips, but they're desperate for someone to help guide them through and give them some real value. And when you add to that the poor quality of salespeople and the experiences that they've had, means that when you're starting out, you're so far behind the 8 ball, you've got a long way to go just to catch up. And your prospects, when they start out, they're expecting someone to try and sell them something, so automatically their defenses are set to an extreme level. And the traditional approach of presenting is to quickly uncover the needs, quickly present how your product works, and then overcome the objections and try and close this sale hard. But what this results in is a prospect whose default position is set to not to buy, and you're trying to convince them to change their mind using these same persuasion tactics that their defense is already prepared for. No matter how good your argument is, you're battling with a prospect whose mind is stuck to "I'm not buying until," finish the blank. And in the end, when you get through your presentation, overcome all these objections, you hear these awful words of "I want to think about it," or "I've got more people to see," and any other lame excuse not to buy from you. But when you want to present for profit, the first thing you need to do is look at your presentation from the eyes of your prospect. See, it's not what you've got to sell that's important. Rather, it's what your prospects want to buy and why they need it. And with this one fundamental shift, you immediately begin to see why everything you've been doing in a traditional presentation is completely upside down. See, as long as your prospect's purchase switch is set to not buy, every piece of value that you present is being received through that filter, meaning the most valuable parts of your presentation are not being received by your prospects. So there's 5 keys when you're presenting for profit that will first flick your prospect switch to buying, and then guide them through the journey that leads them to buy from you, eliminating all these lame excuses that come up with. And linking each of these steps are a small transition that are the glue that holds your prospect's attention, keeping them focused on the value that you're offering. Consider each one of these stages as a key that will eventually lock the door to your prospect's purchase decision. And the transition is you just confirming you've got the right key in the right hole. When you get this process right, the results are extraordinary. No more lame excuses not to buy, and no more chasing after prospects who won't make a decision. Instead, you captivate your prospect's attention, control the entire process, and lead your prospects through a journey they need to go on before they'll say yes. So what are the steps? Well, the first step is to set the context for your presentation. What led to you being here now with this offer, and why must they pay attention to you? Next is to give them the overview. This is the big picture of what you do, but you need to make sure you're focusing on the biggest benefits to your prospects and not the boring features and benefits yet. Third is to go into more detail by explaining how your product will give the prospects the big benefits promised earlier. Fourth is to give an example of someone in a similar situation to your prospect and give them an example of how they went through the journey and what was in it for them. Finally, you need to give all your prospects the reason why they must buy from you, and ask them for any reasons why not to buy. Now, the transitions that we mentioned a minute ago, they're as simple as asking your prospect, "Does that make sense?" before you progress. For your prospects to be able to answer that question, they need to process what you've just explained and make a conscious decision of whether that makes sense or not. If there are details that are not yet clear to them, they're going to ask you. Otherwise, they're going to say yes, and you can move on. But every time they give you the answer to the transition question, they're moving themselves one step closer to buying. I refined this approach when I was selling $50,000 a year consulting programs to some of Australia's biggest and most successful new car dealerships. Each of these businesses had a big sales team between 18 and 50 salespeople, and were run by someone that knew exactly what we were doing and knew every sales tactic under the sun. They would have chewed up and spit out a salesperson at the first sign of a traditional sales tactic. But instead, this process made them feel like they were in control of the process and their decision, and have flicked their switch in stages from not buying to the open discussion to eventually, "Yes, here's my money." I was able to grow my business from a one-man operation into a national brand with offices in 4 states within a year by using this exact presentation process. So how much would you like to increase your sales over the next year? I'd love to know more. See, I put the exact process that I use into a simple step-by-step program that can be used by anyone who wants to get more out of their sales activities. But more on that soon, because I've run out of time today. But in my next video, I'm going to discuss the reasons why most salespeople underachieve and how to instantly increase your sales by between 50 and 100% with one simple idea. Now, I've still got a couple of spots available next week if you're free for a no-obligation strategy session with me. So if you want my help to identify a minimum of a $100,000 increase in your sales, then follow the link below. Otherwise, this is Matt Boyle. I'll see you soon.